that up, so I did have another question, because Danny and I were talking about this in regards to another property.
Can I interrupt? We just lost YouTube, just letting y'all know. Do y'all want to wait just a second, see if you can get back up, or continue? Just want to let y'all know that. You just got it up? I'm sorry.
Okay. So you and I had talked about this on another property. I don't remember which property now. So when they turned in their plans, I guess I should be asked, well, I'll ask, where'd he go?
Robbie.
There he is, Robbie. So when they turn in their plans, and I don't remember the percentage, so one of y'all can help me out. When they're doing a renovation, which is what they're going to be doing, if they meet a certain percentage of that, they're going to have to put in sprinkler systems in this, potentially in this office. Is that correct?
So that's when you,
Because that's what I'm saying. I just
the
want to
cost
clarify.
exceeds 50% of the building, I believe, and the land cost, then you have to bring it up to current code. But I'm not sure, since we did away with the sprinkler system, if the state sprinkler system mandates this. That's the question I think we'd have to ask the fire marshal's office, unless Tim knows it off the bat.
So going from residential to commercial, they'll have to bring it up to code, to commercial code. The sprinkler system will be dictated by the International Building Code. If it meets the requirements in the code, it would have to be sprinkled. But it depends on what type businesses they have in there and
Okay,
the
and the
square
number of
footage.
occupants, I guess, too,
Right.
as well?
Yes.
All right.
So if it's just office space, then no, they wouldn't have to sprinkle it.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, any more questions? Okay, go ahead.
I got one. I believe, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Robbie, there are 8 already zoned O&I on CS Floyd.
They're not necessarily O&I, it's commercial.
Commercial. So we have 8 commercial already on, off CS Floyd. Okay.
Okay, anything else? Okay,
Tim, just for information, on the O&I zoning, do they have to have concrete driveways?
They'll be required to update their driveways, and depending on what type businesses they have will dictate how many handicap parking spaces they have to have.
What about concrete versus gravel?
Yes, they will have to have a hard surface.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay. Thank you, Linda.
Okay, any more questions?
I think we're good.
Okay, I'd like to open it up to the audience now. If anybody has anything they want to say or any comments they want to give out, you can come up to the podium and state your name, address, and what you want to talk about. And you don't have anybody. Okay. All right, so if the council doesn't have any more questions and y'all are okay with this, I would like to put it on the consent agenda, if we can do that. Can we do that, or do we have to vote for it on Thursday night?
We have to vote on
Have to
all
vote it? Okay.
zoning.
All right, we'll vote on it on Thursday night then. Okay, Robbie, come back up.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
The second case is R22-017. The applicant is Thomas E. Todd, TNTRI Properties. The property location is 560 Conyers Road. Tax map parcel is LG 060124A00. It is .68 acres. Current zoning is O&I. Proposed zoning is CH for the addition of retail space, and the applicant is here if you have any questions.
Do we have any questions from the council? No? Okay.
Mr. Todd, is there any comments you'd like to make? This is your time if you need to. Okay.
Okay. All right, so we'll vote on that on Thursday night. And Mayor, that's all I have. Oh, open it up to the public. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought that's what Mayor just did. Okay. All right, so is there anybody from the public that would like to stand up and speak either for or against this particular zoning? Okay. See that we have none, then Mayor, that's all I have for tonight.
Very good. Thank you, Linda. Now we'll move to Finance, Human Resources, Ann Hunsinger.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a couple of items on the agenda. The first one is the audit engagement letter for McNair, McElmore, Middlebrooks and Company. It's kind of a housekeeping issue. We're audited every year. This is a standard engagement letter that we approve every year. So anybody have any questions or anything they want to discuss about it?
Same charges, what, 31,000, is that what it was?
I think that's right.
Yeah. Okay. You want to put that on consent?
Yeah, if no objections, can we consent that?
Everybody okay?
Okay,
Done.
okay, thank you. The next item is an update on our credit rating. We had a call, was it 2 weeks ago, I think, Danny? They've actually increased our credit rating from an AA3 to an AA2. That affects us by reducing our interest rate should we want to do any bonds or any sort of loans. That's more of an FYI. Danny, do you want to talk about that at all? Or Natalie? Natalie, how about you talk about that?
Gee, thanks. So actually, the general fund was rated at an AA2 based on that. Water fund stayed AA3.
Say A3.
Correct. Just wanted to make sure everybody understood that. But yes, basically that helps the city if we have to take out a loan for anything, drops their interest rate dramatically.
Yep.
Got us really close to our surrounding areas. They're quite a bit larger than us.
Yeah, I think the
So
guy
we're
was
really
pretty
close to their
impressed.
ratings now.
I mean, it's a big deal. I mean, it's
Very big deal.
a city this size to get this kind of credit rating based on Danny and the finance department. I mean, it's a big deal. So good job, y'all.
Yeah, Natalie's very modest. This is a huge deal for the city, for the general fund. It's
Yep.
our strength as far as our spending and our money that we have, our, disposable income. So it's the way we keep our finance that Natalie does. It's, just when we
Any way
first,
to save money is a good way.
when we first did the bond in 2018, our taxes base, not what we collect in taxes, but the base of our taxes is its own.
Okay.
Kept us at an AA3. We still have that same tax base, but between our spending and our collection and a healthy reserve, that's what got us to an AA2. So yeah, kudos to Natalie and her team putting this together, and all the department heads. It's a team effort, so thank you.
Very good.
Okay. That's a non-action item. That's just a FYI. The next item is a purchase of a 2021 transit van for the IT department. So right now, the way that they are doing transportation in the IT department is Kyle kind of has to ask around to see if he can borrow one of the other city vehicles. The purpose of this purchase would be to streamline our ability to service more than one issue at a time based on where it is in the city. And this van can tow things, which is, we don't have that ability right now with the trailer. We have to borrow or go rent something, et cetera. So, Akins has given us a $48,000 price. There's no sales tax. And this is part of a state contract, I'm assuming. Is that right? It's a used vehicle, so there's not state contract. So,
I'll let Kyle speak on it if you would like.
Kyle, do you have anything you want to add?
He'll tell you why it's not a state contract.
Hello. First of all, I'm sorry, I got laryngitis, but hopefully you can understand what I'm saying. We tried to get one of these vans on state contract. The state contract pricing, the state contract ordering, as you know, we're dealing with it with some F-350s right now. They're years behind schedule. I think the F-350s we've been waiting on have been a few years, 3 years maybe, 2 years. These transit vans are the same way. What happened is they had a huge hold during COVID where they weren't weren't creating the things that they needed to make them, and now they have a huge backlog. So if you order the van, you may not get it for that year. They actually cancel all the orders at the end of the year, and then those people hopefully get them for the next year, and maybe you get it the next year. Let alone that, the pricing on the new ones has gone up so astronomically high. This is a pre-owned but certified pre-owned van. The new one was about $20,000 more than this, and they couldn't. The only thing they had available for me to buy was a 350, and I don't need anything near a 350. I honestly don't have to have a 250. There's not that much difference to us between a 250 and a 150. You can't get your hands on a 150. Actually, I called 3 different dealerships, and the first thing the salesperson in government sales told me was good luck. So We were lucky to find the one we did. We need something that can haul the scissor lift. The trailer that the scissor lift goes on, we need to be able to haul it. I have a project in here actually that we have to have the scissor lift for in this room. And also to haul a lot of the trailers we use for the fiber stuff that we're working on, some of the hand holes and things like that. So that's why we're buying a pre-owned. It is certified pre-owned from Akins. It's still under warranty. The actual mileage, it has 6,000 miles left on the factory warranty before it finishes that. But on top of the 6,000 miles, once we get to the end of that, it has a 48,000 mile bumper-to-bumper warranty, and then it has a 100,000 mile powertrain warranty. So because it's certified pre-owned through Ford, we're getting the warranties that we need on the pre-owned. If it didn't have the warranties, we wouldn't buy it, for sure. So does that answer your question? That's why we're not going government contract. Government contract, even if we're a commercial company, not government contract, commercial companies get priority over government contracts. So Ford's canceling government before they cancel commercial companies.
Well, I told you I was going to ask you here so you could talk, because you and I met before the meeting started, because as I said, out of everything in the packet, I got more calls about the van than I did anything else. And I was asking why, because we have a police SUV that was wrecked. It's got less than 10,000 miles on it, and it's going to be repaired, but they don't want to use it as a police office, as a police car anymore. I believe, isn't that right, Chief Larry? Is Fain's vehicle, it's not going back into service, or they're going to repair it though, correct? Wasn't it Fain's that got, it had like less than 10,000 miles on it? It was a fairly new vehicle.
No, we have a Dodge Durango that's over at the shop that has to have a replacement motor that is $14,000 with no delivery, even an estimate of delivery. It doesn't, that vehicle has almost 90,000 miles on it. So it's really not, until we can find something more reasonable to put in that vehicle, we will still use it, it just won't be assigned to the DA.
Okay.
But right now, it's in limbo. Unfortunately, the newer car that we just bought was involved in an accident, but it's relatively minimal.
Okay.
That'll be fixed on
All right,
on
then
insurance.
that's where I'm at. I've got
Yes.
two, okay.
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right.
But it will be
So
back in
you don't know when
service.
you would get a motor for the Durango?
If anybody knows where one is at a reasonable
Right.
price, but honestly, no. Ross has spent hours and hours and hours. I mean, we've looked in other states trying to find one, and it's just not available.
Right.
Through Dodge, they'll take your order and they'll take your down payment, but they won't give you a delivery estimate. It's kind of the same things that Kyle's running into with
Right.
vehicles. It's very widespread right now with trying to get things like
Right.
that.
But again, explain why you needed something like a transit about the fiber, the
Well-
splicing of the cables and things like that?
Yes, the part of the plan for this, we have two network segments. So one is going to come out of here and go to it already comes out here and goes to the utility department. The new one that we're working on that you guys just approved a few months ago, maybe 6 months ago, is going to the police department. It's going to give them unlimited network speed to here. The caveat to that is if a contractor hits it in the middle of the night, a holiday, a weekend, anything like that, we can call around and find a company to come and splice it. It might take hours, days, who knows when they'll show up. We want to have a mobile workstation that's capable of doing it. So we're capable of doing it. I'm capable of doing it, and I'm training people to do it. But without a workstation that you can sit on the side of the road, you can't do that. So it will be an emergency vehicle, an emergency splicing vehicle in the back. It'll have a workstation and lighting inside, and it'll be used for that. But the reason, we have a smaller van right now. We have an NV200. That van, it really isn't big enough to haul the ladders that we need. We had to buy a huge ladder rack and stuff for the top of it. We don't use huge ladders, but 8-foot and 6-foot ladders will fit in the back of this also. So having a larger cargo area benefits us a lot too. We haul a lot of things to work on fiber. We do a lot more than just type on a computer and just work on your little computers every day. We do, huge TVs. We do a lot of other stuff too, huge networking cabinets and stuff that we have to haul around, so.
And you did say this was a budgeted item?
It is budgeted this year, yes.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Does anybody else have any questions for Kyle? Does anybody have any issue with this going on consent? Okay. Moving right along. Thanks,
Thank
Doug.
you all very much.
Okay, so the last thing that I have on my agenda is to talk about waste management. And Walt is here from Waste Management if we have any questions for him, but I'm going to kind of give you the high level. We have agreed, the contract that we have in front of us has really two pieces. The first piece is that residential rates will stay the same through 2025. And the second piece is that we will begin to charge our residents for recycling, and we will be charged for recycling.
But that's only if they choose to. Correct.
Yes, yeah. So automatic recycling goes away. You don't automatically get a can for trash and a can for recycling. One of the issues that was reported to us by Walt is that a lot of people are using that recycle can as trash. So it's causing a lot of contamination, et cetera. So before you in the packet is the new rates that we've agreed upon from Waste Management, which keeps it flat, what our rate is from the city. What we need to talk about, and I have a suggestion, is we need to talk about what we're going to set the rate for recycling. So a residential cost for the first can of garbage is $19.50. That's garbage, that's unchanged. That's not in the packet, I'm just giving that to you. The rate per month for garbage, yard waste, et cetera, for senior citizens is $16.35. Again, those are unchanged. An additional 95-gallon cart for garbage is $11. All of that stays the same. Now we have to figure out what the recycling is. Waste Management's going to charge us $10. My thought is that we need to get that probably up in the $14 to $15 range, because we don't want a recycling cart to be cheaper than getting a second garbage, because then we're right back in the same boat that we are now with contaminated recycling. So what I'm asking for tonight, we can have discussion about what y'all think of as the recycling cost, and make sure you're okay with the contract, et cetera. So opening it up for discussion.
Also, the contract has the increase for commercial at 4.8%.
I'm sorry, yes.
8%.
Yes, I was
which is-
focused on the residential. The commercial increase will continue with the CPI on this round and for the next subsequent rounds until we do a new contract in 2025.
I think it's a tough call, because if you raise it too high, the people who might want to recycle won't. My first question would be, what does the cities around us doing? And I think I heard Snellville's at 10. Why would we be higher than what they charge?
Hey, Rick, we need him, or Walt, or whoever's going to speak. Yeah, Walt, why don't you?
The second garbage can is serviced by the same truck. Recycling is serviced by a separate truck. And then the cost of this, you say dump, but to drop the load is double what garbage is. So
Okay.
that's why.
Okay, but the same thing is true in Snellville and Grayson, is it not?
Yes, the Snellville's recycler charge is going to be more than the second garbage can. And then Grayson is more than the garbage can.
Okay, so I'm wrong to say that they were going to charge $10 for the recycle bin.
Right, I think so.
No, they are charging 10. Now, Grayson chose not to add a fee onto theirs. They just left it flat. Snellville's adding a fee. Because people, and I know where Ann's going with this, that people play the money game. And they go, oh, I can get this can for $2 less, and they throw trash in it and put some bottles on top of it and call it recycling. And our contamination rate has gone out the roof at the processors.
By the way, my name is Walt Ritter with Waste Management.
Sorry, Walt.
I think part of the issue is, and not to speak for the city of Snellville or the city of Grayson, but everybody charges their residents a little bit differently.
Right.
You know, where you might charge your residents, some other communities subsidize it somewhere else, and there is no charge, so on and so forth. So it's really not comparing apple to apples, but it's the same $10 here as it is in Snellville, is what the city's being charged.
My only concern is what are the citizens going to think if those two are charging a rate and they're our next door neighbors and we look to go higher than that. I'd just soon not have recycling and don't even offer it
Right.
if we're going to do that.
I-
My thoughts.
Well, one of the questions I have, because I wasn't on city council in the past,
Yes, ma'am?
and I know that the previous council voted, and during COVID, y'all actually got a 13% increase? Did it total out? There was two different ones, and wasn't the total 13%?
No, I
And
think,
there
I think
were
it was
some-
6.5.
I think it was 8.
It was six, yeah, well, we
Yeah.
did 6.5
And
on
then
one
they got
end
the
and the other.
4.8% CPI in addition, so that was the total.
No, they didn't
No,
get the addition.
no, we
Okay,
did
just-
not.
just total
Yeah,
it.
it was just the plan.
But there were some issues back then, and since I wasn't on council then, I just want to clarify now that there were conditions to that if you met these things, so have
Only on
all,
the commercial side.
has everything been taken care
Yes.
of? Everything was
Yes.
met, okay.
Yeah, and it was not on the residential, it was only on the commercial
Okay.
side, which they met. We gave them half, I think, March
Yes,
1st,
ma'am.
I think is right, and then we gave you the rest in April or May,
Okay.
yeah.
I just want to make sure
Yeah.
that everything
And
was
then-
cleared
absolutely
away.
fine.
And then-
Another option in Snellville would be, they have their own recycling facility, so those folks, just like the folks in Loganville, or can access that facility and use it. But the program's gone backwards. You know, in the beginning, it was a free program, and now it's more expensive to recycle than it is to pick up garbage.
Oh, we get that, we get it. It's, that's just reality of changes in the world.
But, okay, so we're going to have our citizens who have had a service for X number of years at a rate that expected a certain service, and that's in our contract with you. Now they're being told, we're not going to do that anymore. You're going to pay for that if you want it. And you know, but we're not going to reduce your rate. And that's where I think everybody's hung up on.
But we're not
You're-
gonna, we're
well-
not gonna increase your rate.
Yeah,
Well,
but
I
we're
think-
getting less service.
But
Now, let me
here's the-
finish my line of thought.
Oh, okay.
So what I want to know is, we do have some recycling abilities in the county. There's the places where you can take to the dumpster. I want to know if Melanie Long decides, you know what, I'm not happy paying $19.50 and I'm going to have to pay $10 more to do my recycling. Can I completely opt out of the garbage system and waste management and not even pick up my trash at all?
I
Because
can't
if I'm
answer-
going to drive my recycling down to the place here and thing, I can pay $1.50 a bag,
Right.
and I can put it in the compactor. And if I go to the garbage place twice a month for $2.50, what I'm saying is we're shortchanging our citizens. They're not, Waste Management is a multi-billion-dollar company globally,
Correct.
and what you're losing in Loganville by not providing the service that you're contracted to do to our citizens, and expecting them to just be happy with that because we're not gonna raise your rate. But I think they should get something, because you're just not making the profit you used to, and nobody is. We just talked about a $48,000 van. Nobody's making the profit they wanna make. So you need to give a concession to our citizens that they're still gonna pay $19.50, but now if they wanna recycle, they gotta pay $10 more to do so.
Understood. And the thought process, number one, once again, let me reiterate that we're not gonna price increase the residential customer base, which is tens of thousands of dollars over the next couple of years. So that price is gonna remain flat. And that's from the waste management side. Number two is the subscription recycle, the folks that actually want to recycle, they will continue to do that, like in the city of Grace and in other communities. What has happened, ma'am, is over a period of time, the recycling can has become a second garbage container. And we dump it out at the recycling facility, and they charge us $90, it costs us $90 a ton. And then they'll call us and tell us to come pick it up. It's not recycling anymore. It's single stream recycling is a thing of the past.
Well, for the same amount of driving the truck up and down the street, then why don't you just give our citizens a second can for garbage, and we're still at $19.50? And then if they want to pay $10 for recycling on top of that, then we're happy.
And I understand, but let me go back to my original point. When the contract was first put together and negotiated with the cities of Loganville, the only cost of the recycling program was the cart. It paid for itself, it supported itself through the revenues generated from the commodity pricing, which aren't there anymore, they're all in the negative now. And then in the beginning with the recycling program, the thought process was, okay, we're gonna get these folks to recycle, so the solid waste stream is gonna decrease. So that's less trips to the landfill, less wages, less tipping fees or cost per ton at the landfill, and it was supported by those two pieces that I talked about. And they're gone. It's not like that anymore.
Walt, is it correct when it was discussed that basically the $10 fee is put there because there are some citizens who really believe wholeheartedly that they need and want to recycle, regardless of the realities of life in the trash business?
Absolutely.
That's the only reason that's there. If we put this into place, and if nobody selects to pay the whatever fee it is to do it, it'll be gone anyway, won't it?
South Fulton just did that. They took it all away and just did it, and their price is higher than y'all's.
There's several municipalities that.
You know, it's just there to give people who really, in their heart, think and to make our earth a better place, we need to recycle.
Right.
The thing, it just doesn't pay for itself anymore.
Well, and I mean,
One thing, China quit buying all the trash. Isn't that true?
Yes, sir.
So, we don't know how many might adopt this recycling and how many will let it go away. I just feel real strongly, I don't see how we could charge more than Grayson and Snellville. I just don't.
I don't think we can compare ourselves to Grayson and Snow. I don't think that's fair to us or to our services. I mean,
Trash is trash.
well, but we're not talking trash, we're talking recycling.
I know.
But they're still gonna be paying $19.50 already for their garbage that they were already getting recycling for free, and now you wanna charge them $15.
All right, what's your solution?
That we at least reduce the $19.50 down to $15.50, and then if they wanna pay, give the people that aren't gonna recycle a break, and the people that wanna pay them, if you wanna charge them $15, then that makes up that $5 and that $10.
So you want to reduce the residential rate to $15.50, but they're going to charge us $16.95, so it's going to cost the city $1.50 per resident to have garbage picked up.
Well, I expect them to reduce it. They're the ones that are
Why would
making
they
money.
Wait. Why would they reduce their cost of business? If
Because
we put
we're
this out-
taking half of their work
But we're
load away
not
from
taking
them.
half their work.
They still, they have to drive a second truck to pick up recycling. They're
Wait,
saving gas.
Wait, you asked me to stop, now let me stop.
Okay.
They still have to drive the truck, because we did this all in committee. They have to drive the truck the same amount of places, whether there's a recycle or not. So if they go to Birchwood and instead of all 50 houses recycling, only 15 do, they still have to drive the truck to every driveway. They still have to have a route, they still have to have a driver. That part of it doesn't change. If we put this out to bid, if we say, I'm sorry, Walt, we're not going to change this contract, you don't get your CPI because you didn't do it within 90 days, you're stuck with it, they can either give us notice or we can put it out to bid. Walt, what's going to happen if we put it out to bid? Not you. What's going to happen if we, I already know you know the answer.
Your prices are probably going to increase 50%.
That's right, they're going to double, that's what's happening
Actually,
everywhere else.
I called.
Okay,
I called Advanced, I called Southern Sanitation, and everybody right now is around between $16 and $22. So we're not,
Well, I use Southern Sanitation and I get charged $75
And Southern just went up to $98 a quarter.
a quarter.
So, you know,
well, I'm just saying, I made a call,
No, I understand.
and I didn't tell them who I was, I just asked, hey, what are y'all charging for residential garbage? And I called multiple people, I don't have those notes in front of me, I called like 5 companies.
No, I understand.
I got prices from 16 to 22. So I don't want us to sit as a council up here and operate out of a place of fear. You can't negotiate out of a
I'm
place
not
of
operating
fear.
on a place of fear,
And that
I'm
was
operating
not
on a
my
place of
intent.
reality. I've seen what the other municipalities have gone to, and I cannot in good conscience say, all of your residents, you don't have an increase, you're gonna have to pay for recycling, screw that, I'm gonna double, and now you have to pay $35 a month. They would skewer all of us. All of us, we'd be skewered.
I agree.
So who went to $98 a month?
Southern Sanitation.
So if we went to Southern Sanitation and the residential cost is $98 a month, which is $98 a quarter, $33 a month, that would double their rates. How can I do that? How can I tell them that we're
Well,
gonna?
we haven't asked, we haven't called and seen, so that's what I'm saying. Can we just go with the contract like it is for the year? Do it just like, continue the recycling for 1 year, do it like it was, give us a year to come back.
I think that's a terrible move.
Okay.
I'd
But
like
in the-
input from the rest of the council.
Personally, any of the council got any questions, I would be very content not to have increases for 3 years. And I'd be very content to charge the $10 for somebody that wants recycling. I'm content. We are
I
going
think
to,
it's just 2 years though, Skip, not 2 years. Just to be
By the
correct.
time
and then we'll see how many
3.
people want to do the recycling, and we'll go from there, if y'all have a problem with it.
I guess my concern talking about this is you've got an issue. I mean, I like recycling. I like the opportunity to recycle, and I'll continue to do that. But what I've heard is that you've got an issue with people using it as a garbage bin, right? And I don't know by us continuing how are you going to enforce that? How do you control that, or how do you identify where those are and stop that? Because I get that we'll be paying for it, but Ann and I had this conversation before. You're still paying for it. What's going to stop somebody from paying just to have that second trash can? And I know that's where Hannon was going with it, but what are you guys doing from your end?
I guess you'd have to look at, basically, in the committee, they looked at what the
Did we not
results
talk
were.
about them taking away the recycle bins that the people have now?
Yeah, they're gonna take them away.
So if they take away the recycle bin, then anything that they do, if they're not recycling, has to go into the garbage can.
Right. That's
So
what they
therefore,
expect.
that eliminates that problem of putting garbage in a recycle bin, because they're not gonna have a recycle bin to
Well,
put
for the
garbage in.
ones, though,
No, I
that
don't-
keep it, the ones, though,
Right.
that keep it, I think you said that you experienced a heck of a lot cleaner recycle bins from those people who are really wanted to continue and
The city of Grayson, we're up to 25% now, and it is, our stuff is fantastic. We've had no issues with people doing the wrong thing.
Skip, the word in our industry is de minimis quantities, and that's basically what happens. So it's a small percent. It doesn't contaminate the load. Plus, the crews will have the option to tag and not service a recycle can, so we can educate the customer further that this is not recyclable products to keep it from contaminating a clean load of recycled materials.
So do you have a way, just as you mentioned, I mean, we've had pickup for a long time in this city, and every once in a while it gets missed or something, but if you intentionally miss over one or leave one, do you have some way of marking it and saying this is not acceptable?
It'll be tagged.
Okay. Tagged just so that the recipient knows what it is.
Yes, sir, knows
Okay.
what's wrong.
And you don't dump it, which creates a phone call.
Oh,
which
yeah.
You go back out and explain to them what the problem is. And well, I've only had 2 customers in all of Grayson that did that since October, and they cleaned it up real quick. And we call it, it's charging, it's more of a convenience fee. You can go to recycling center free. It's a convenience fee for us to come pick it up and go pay to dump it at a recycling place. That's what it boils down to. It costs us to dump. We don't get to dump free anymore. We used to get paid $55 a ton. That's what was carried. That went away. When China went away, we used to send all our stuff to them.
Is there any chance you could add glass back?
What?
Could you add glass back?
No. Processor will not take it.
Okay.
It's the only commodity that breaks, and it
No,
runs.
I'm just asking.
Now, the only way you could do that, if you had a separate, City of Lawrenceville,
Gwinnett
paid to
County.
have a glass recycling.
Yeah, no, I
bin
just
at
take it to
Public
Walton,
Works.
it's fine.
But Ann, to answer your question, I would support $15 for recycling, because the people that are gonna recycle are going
Yes.
to pay. And
So
I
you-
see where you're at. I'll support that,
Okay.
but we need to give a concession, though, to the people that are paying the same amount and losing a service. And I understand you're saying they're not losing a service, they're,
No, I mean, they are losing a service. I'm trying to make it where we don't increase their bill.
And our costs have gone out the roof,
The-
our costs.
but do you?
But that doesn't matter
Right.
to me.
Do you at
'cause it's
least
a
see where I'm
contract.
coming-
I'm not being ugly, but I don't care.
But do you see where I'm coming
No,
from?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, no, I guess I had this conversation, we kind of hashed it out in committee.
Right.
Because, I mean, I said
And I'm
the
not
same
on the
thing.
committee
Yeah,
with
right.
you.
I mean, you were here, yeah, I mean, we were here a long time, we're like, all the same things, and I'm like,
I know, and I watched it.
Not
I
realizing that the
actually
truck-
have a note here that I appreciate your creative solutions, okay?
oh,
But, so I appreciate that, but what I'm saying is at the end of the day, it's our citizens that are getting,
So, let me explain, maybe this will help, Melanie. In 2015, when we put this out the contract, when all the trash companies came, Southern Sanitation was one, the Vance Disposal actually got it, but they were bidding just trash. They didn't- recycling was a bonus because they were making money off of it. That's why they didn't include it. So now, let's say we open it up. Now, for the same apples to apples, contract to contract, now you would have a recycling fee and a trash fee. So
If you choose
for all
to.
the people, no, what I'm just saying, if the city wanted to keep it, what we had and go out to bid, you would have this regardless who, because now nobody pays for recycling or pays the person that picks it up. Now the hauler has to pay, you know, 50, whatever, $85 a ton, is that correct?
It's 85 with
$85 a
transportation,
ton, which is a
correct,
little bit more
to
than
105.
trash. So that's why I was explaining to Ann in the committee is when we first bid, because he's like, yeah, we're saving you half of your time now because you're not picking it up. That's true, but they were making money on it then. Now it's costing them money. So even if we was to say, you know what, Walt, we like your service, we're gonna go with someone else, you're looking at double, because you're gonna pay for recycling regardless. So now we're gonna add this, what we're asking is to make it a convenience fee if you want it. It's an enhancement service if you want this recycling. Trash will still be the same. And our compromise was, well, you can't ask for another increase for it's 2.5 years. It expires September of 2025, so that's all of 23, all of 24, and most of 25. That residents would not have that it's up to 5%. This year is 4.8 they asked for.
Correct.
Just for commercial, so, you know, 4.8 or 5% over the next 3 years is 15% that the residents could see if we kept it the same. So just
Well,
want that was our compromise.
I ran those numbers, so what you're saying is the increase, the 4.8% increase, at the current rate, that would be an additional $11.28 per citizen over a year's time. And then the next year it would jump to an $11.76, and that's like $1 a month. So, okay, so here's where we're at. So I'm gonna increase by $1 a month, and I could still keep my, you know what I'm saying, if we honored the contract, just like it is, I'm gonna pay $1 a month more, and I keep recycling. But now you're telling me, you're not gonna pay that $1 a year more, and you're gonna pay for recycling. I'm just saying, there's gotta be something for the citizens there, because you're only talking about $1 a month, but if we kept the contract just like it was, and they got their 4.8% every year, $1 a month, and they keep everything just like it is, that's a no-brainer. You do
That's
that.
if the company decides I'm losing too much money and cancel the contract.
Right, but they have to give us 90 days, and and that's where I'm saying, we could keep this year status quo, because they couldn't do it till 90 days before the end of this year. Everything stays status quo for this year. That gives us as a council an opportunity. Let's price shop it. Let's find out where we're at. Let's don't operate out of a place of, oh, we could, oh, we might, oh, they would. We might pay $98 a quarter. Keep it status quo for this year. I mean, they're coming up short on us, like they're going, hey, this is what we want to do now. We didn't get much notice about this. We keep everything for a year, it gives us a year to work through it. And I'm fine. Go ahead and give them the 4.8% today. Increase my bill $1. What did I say, $1 a month? And keep everything like it is. I know a year from now, because you know how many calls we're going to get about this? Do you know how horrible this is going to be for the people? We got 13,000 citizens. So leave everything status quo, give them the 4.8%. They honor the contract through the end of this year. That gives us 11 more months to figure out what we're going to do starting next year. And then we move into the, if you want to keep it, you pay $15 and then this, and everybody knows where we're at. Right
From
now,
my
we're
perspective-
short,
I'm
we're
not
pulling
gonna
the rug out
argue.
from under them right now.
Can I make one more comment?
Please, Walt, go ahead.
It is not a recycling program any longer. That's the problem.
Right.
It's trash. It's not a recycling program. It's an extra garbage can.
Well, then replace for this year, replace all the recycling with another garbage can, and then you're just picking up, keep it status quo, pick up the recycling, and nobody recycles then, and give them another can until we get through this year.
We
In
used to
committee,
be
if you remember, Ann.
A self-supporting program is now costing more than it costs to pick up a garbage can.
I'm not saying something ugly to you, but that is not the problem of the citizens of Loganville. That is, your company is not making as much money as it once did. You think nobody is making the money they once
I
made.
think you're being so short-sighted that you want to save the citizens money for 8 months and then double their costs. How are you going to sell that in January when we put it out for bid and it's not $16 or $19, it's $32. You think they're gonna scream now? I mean, it's not that just Waste Management isn't making money. In my opinion, a big corporation can absorb price changes better than the little guys. What are you gonna do in January when it comes back and it's double? How are you gonna sell that to the citizens? When we could have kept it status for 2 years.
Yeah, and prices are just gonna go up, they're not gonna go down with all these,
Well, hang on, how are you gonna sell that to the citizens? Sorry, Linda.
that's okay.
That's why I'm saying take the time to think about it. I don't have an answer right this moment.
Well, in committee, if we remember, those of us who were there, we were really impressed with this proposal because I did not expect to not have any increases for the next 2 years in the trash business. And I was really impressed the fact that if somebody doesn't want to pay the $10 to recycle, don't. I mean, that's still the individual's options. However, if you're a person who thinks this is the greatest program on earth and you really think that it's beneficial, then you have an option of paying the $10. I mean, to me, it's a win-win.
Well, I have spoke my piece and majority rules, and I'm fine. I've
Well, we're not
told you I
voting
will
yet.
support your, I think if you are gonna go that way, then yeah, it should cost more than the can.
Does anybody else have any, and I appreciate that, does anybody else have any input on the cost for that recycling subscription?
So I guess I'm reading in the contract. The contract says $10, and that's where I was expecting. I was expecting it to be $10, but you were.
That's our cost, that's the city's cost.
That's our cost, right?
Yeah, I mean, who on council recycles? I mean, I do.
I
Yeah.
do.
So the city will break even on those who recycle.
I do, but I will not pay to recycle.
Okay,
So
I
I'm
will,
gonna-
I
I'm
will
gonna
pay.
drop it, so
You'll
I'll-
drop it.
I'll
I'll pay to
drop it.
recycle. Bill, you'll pay to recycle.
I will.
Brandon and Linda, do both of you recycle? What's your comfort level with, I'm just curious.
10's fine with me.
Well, but 10's our cost.
Okay, 10's our
So
cost.
there's administrative,
I
and
would
we
do
want to make
12.
it more than the second can.
I would do 12 or 15
Brandon,
to recycle.
How much is the second can?
say again?
How much was the second can?
A second garbage can is 11 for the citizens.
I'd say at least make it the same price, and then they can decide. But,
Make it the same price for a recycle can or for a garbage can?
yeah,
what
because
you're
then they
saying?
wouldn't get a recycling can for the same price they get a garbage can.
I just don't want to charge more than Grace and Snow. If
No.
they
Well, I
can
just
do
got
it,
a
by
text-
God, we can do it.
I just got a text from my daughter, and she said that she lives outside the city limits. She pays $90 per quarter with Southern Sanitation, and she has no recycle option. So she doesn't even have an option to
$30
recycle.
a month.
And that's what she pays right now. When she first started living there, she only paid $70. So they've already gone up $20 on her. So it's not going to get cheaper.
What if we did 11.50? That'd make it a nice round. If you have one garbage, one recycle, it's $31.
And what's the, I mean, we're
And
already,
that's
we're
one-
already administering the billing and everything, right? I mean,
Right.
so why do we need the extra $1.50?
Because I'm the finance committee and I want to put everything to the bottom line possible.
If you don't
without
make
raising taxes.
recycling more than the trash, they're gonna use it for a trash can.
Right.
If I tell
But
you,
he's gonna come back and put things on there and he's gonna take away from it.
all due respect to y'all,
That's
we
not
deal with the
gonna-
customers,
yeah.
not y'all. It's not gonna happen. They're not gonna pick it up. We're gonna be in the same situation. It's gotta be more than the
I
second trash
agree.
can. Or not offered at all. I'm just saying, if I give you an option of a trash can or a recycling can, but you can have one cheaper than the other, which one are you gonna pick? You're gonna pick the cheaper one.
Right.
I was about to say same
All right,
price.
12 bucks? I mean,
why I
11 bucks
said
for the
same
second
price.
It
can?
needs to be more than the second can.
Yeah.
And I was going to tell you, Grayson did choose to make them the same price, the second can, and I'm going to tell you why their justification was. They made the same price, that if somebody kept being a problem and contaminating, they had the option to get the second, we would swap it out and give them a second garbage can and take the recycle cart away. That way they weren't out their money. That's why they chose to do
Well,
that.
let me
route.
ask you a
But
question.
From an
that's y'all's
administrative
call.
standpoint,
I have a,
yeah, Danny's over there shaking his head.
But I think the $12 that people sign up for that program are gonna be 100, they're gonna recycle every week like you're supposed to, and it's gonna create a good program.
Is it, Mr. Mayor, when could we ask that question for the people in the audience, if anybody recycles, what they'd be willing to pay? I'd be interested.
At the end of the
At the
meeting.
end of the meeting, okay. I'd like to ask that question at the end of the meeting.
Okay, we got it?
Because we're not doing it during, we've got a protocol.
I was
Yeah,
just
Linda.
going to ask a question. So right now, when you pick up recycle, if you go to that recycle can and you see there's food in the recycle can and there's other stuff in the recycle can, do you still pick it up or do you leave it sitting?
A lot of it's hidden.
Yeah.
I mean, all Rick's folks can see, or my folks can see, is what's on top, so.
Gotcha.
Right.
It's,
If it's in a big can, we can't see what's on the bottom. And I know last year I showed Ann had a picture,
Yeah,
a
I've
couple of
seen
you, one of my guys dumped a can, and a gallon of oil exploded and completely covered his face. He
Okay.
had no glasses on.
So our residents also have the big cans for recycle as
Right.
well as the tubs for
That's
recycle.
what you'll get on this program. You'll get the big one.
no, you'll get a choice, you can get
You
either
choice,
or.
but most people for $10 will take the big one. They're not gonna take
And
it.
that's
It's
what
not
they
for
have
$10.
now.
You got to stop saying that.
Well, whatever, okay.
All right, so since we're not going to put, I don't want to put this on consent. I would
No,
like
we
to
need to
think
vote.
about it.
Needs to be a
And I
vote.
would like to get citizens' feedback on the pricing. So have y'all got enough information where we could continue to move and then get feedback from people about the cost?
I just have one
Or what they want to
question.
pay? Yeah.
Brandon's got one.
Well, our old cans, the
Yes, sir.
ones that are the rectangle ones,
Uh-huh.
when will they be taken if we do sign this? We just take
When-
them out by the road, or would y'all, because we'd have to let everybody know, hey, put them out by the road.
Correct. During the, we planned the program out for those that didn't choose, that the recycle will be, this is when subscription's gonna start, and the flyers, and then we would just send a truck by, the route trucks, and pick those up as we go. Will we get all of them the first time around? Probably not.
Okay,
But we'll try to collect everything on the day of service.
okay.
Yeah, so the way it works is we got a flyer ready to go out based on what the council decides, and April, you can sign up, you have to sign up by April 1st if y'all go the way it's been proposed. And then the month of April, they would actually pick up the cans that people chose not to recycle. The reason we kept the small bins there is because a lot of elderly really likes those cans. They don't like the 65-gallon carton wheels, so that's why it's the same. And we didn't want to get an issue about, do you have a rectangle, do you have this is one flat fee for recycling, period. So that's the reason we kept both of them. And then it would go live May 1st.
Well, if the council has a tie vote, y'all, I think y'all know how it'll go, but we'll see how it goes Thursday night. And we will come back at the end of the meeting if anybody wants to make a comment. You can't leave. The meeting's not over. You have not been dismissed.
They have bunko.
Why don't you just ask him real quick?
Huh?
Yeah,
I
just,
can't hear you.
go ahead.
Is it okay if they speak
Yeah,
now?
go ahead. If you were going to do recycling, what would you pay? 15?
Hold on.
Wait,
Okay, here we go. You got to get a microphone. No singing, though.
I'm a big recycler.
Me too.
I even take my glass to Snellville.
I do too.
But I would pay the $15, but I don't want a big trash can. I want my little bin.
No, you get to keep it.
Well,
You
you
can have
said you
either
have
or.
to have a big trash can.
It's
I don't
your
want a big
choice.
trash can.
Yeah.
No, you can
Yeah.
have either or.
Your choice.
Oh, okay.
It'll be your,
okay.
on the flyer, I think that Danny's put together, it states both those.
It's either or.
Yeah.
Okay, now think about the citizens, just your thoughts. What would the average citizen be willing to do? I don't know.
Well, some people like to recycle, some people don't. I mean, I'm
Well,
a big recycler.
that's
and I'm
them taken
very
care
adamant
of, though.
about
They'll
it.
have a choice to make. But we're talking about the ones who do decide to recycle. What would they be willing to pay? Is $15 what you would say? The average person? You on microphone?
recycle the right way, because I take labels off of
Yes, ma'am.
and then I wash it and I put it, I don't want to talk in that. I mean, I do it the right way, but I don't have enough for me to pay $15 a month.
Right.
I could save it in my own container, then take it down to youth.
Okay. And that's fair. I mean, that's
But
okay. Lisa, what about you? Yep.
Put all that crap in there.
Same here. Because the county has such a fantastic recycle program, I mean, I frequent the center in Monroe. And then I think there's 5 total convenience centers around the county, and they're convenient. So for me, I would just do it with recycling. I would get my own recycling set up and go every Saturday, which I'm pretty much there anyways, at one of the centers, and drop off my Amazon boxes and whatnots. And I keep a stash of green bags at the house, and you can put a lot of trash in those green bags. And you know, for me, I've just got to use the recycle center every weekend.
Okay.
And rather than paying something.
Okay.
Okay,
But I most likely would have to get that second trash can.
I would not pay, but I would carry my stuff to the recycle bin.
so you put your stuff in the trash, right?
No, I would go.
No, she'll go to the county.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, and I go to the county. I take the glass to the county, so I think Bill does too. All right. So 15 for you, and then you don't have enough, the rest of you are not enough. You wouldn't pay to recycle, you'd just take it to the county centers. Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Okay.
Are y'all all going partying? Can y'all bring back a few drinks again? No, I didn't say that.
All right, then, Mr. Mayor, we will hold this. Everybody be thinking about, I hope that you're okay with the contract idea, like extending that and keeping the residential rates for trash, okay? But be thinking about what you think the right rate is for the recycle for our citizens. Okay, Mr. Mayor, that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen,
Thanks,
for being
Walt.
here.
Thanks,
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
And you're welcome to stay. Just thought I'd
It
throw
was
it
a late
out.
night too, Rick. I paid attention.
I remember. Okay, we'll move on to Public Safety Committee. Jay Bowles.
Thank you, Mayor. Chief Johnson will have some commendations Thursday night and a really good story that I hope everybody tunes in on YouTube or shows up to hear. And that is all I have for you tonight.
Okay, is that planned for the beginning of the meeting, Jay, or
Yeah, we'll
beginning of
do
the
it.
meeting? Because I saw somewhere it was at the end.
No, we'll do it.
Okay, I just didn't
We'll
want to
do it
keep it.
usual, where we do it after
Okay.
the pledge and all that.
Very good. Thank you, Jay.
Yep.
Now we'll move to Public Utilities Transportation. Bill Duvall.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I have 3 items on the agenda tonight. The first one is a contract with Terramark Mapping. It's a 5-year contract from 23 to 27. They maintain a GIS system and do the stormwater. We have to inspect 20% of our stormwater infrastructure annually, so that we hit every bit of it every 5 years. So this is a budgeted item. It's $24,000 per year. The contract's in your packet. Is there any questions? So I'd like to go ahead and put that on consent.
Just housekeeping? Agreed? Okay.
All right, switching forward. The second item is Rye Engineering contract. They provide leak detection for water, and I'm flipping through it now. I think they do about 20% per year, but based on our last audit with the water, and the city has requested to go ahead and have them in audit or inspect our entire inventory. They're going to do 25% of the inventory every quarter for the next 4 quarters. They'll go out and use acoustic devices to identify leaks. So we are paying for this, but we're trying to go ahead and save any water loss. This contract is $39,975. How long have we been in contract with this company?
2 years?
2 years.
2 years. And this 39 is for the remainder of this fiscal year and then fiscal year 24. So you can prove it now. If you prove it Thursday night, it'll also cover the 2 quarters in next budget.
Okay.
Is that a budgeted item?
We budget some, but not the full amount, but we have money in the budget we can use.
Okay.
Any questions on that? Other questions? All right. With that, I'd like to put that on consent. All right, thank you. And then the final, Danny sent this out to to us, and I'm scrolling to it too as well, but it's, the water treatment plant has 3 influent pumps. 2 of them are operational, and the third is the backup for emergencies. Well, that one is not working. It's 23 years old. It's to repair, it's at a 50% of the cost of a new one. The cost to go ahead and replacing this pump is $66,432. It is budgeted, and we'd like to go ahead and replace it at this point.
When I read this, my first question is 8 to 12 months to get a new pump? We okay that long? We hope? Weeks, that's right, that's right.
We have backup pump, emergency backup pump.
Okay.
So, any questions? I'd like to put that on consent as well.
Everybody okay with consent? Okay.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Bill. We'll move on to Public Works Facilities Committee. Melanie Long.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a couple of items. The first one is the annual contract renewal for Control Concepts LLC. That is the company that, if I'm not mistaken, I'll probably get Dustin to clarify this for me. They have sensors on all of our AC units and all of our different components of that, and they can monitor that, although I think Kyle said that they can't now. We're gonna have to find a workaround because of the security clearances. But they can do that. We can monitor the condition of all the units. You know, if the thing notifies that it's blowing hot air, but you've got the thermostat cranked all the way down, there's obviously a problem. And you can come in and we can realize we've got a problem about to occur. Believe you said they come twice a year and inspect all the components that they have installed. Is that correct, Dustin? Yes, ma'am. Okay. And so this is just our annual renewal contract. And wait a minute, I don't see the dollar amount. Hang on a second. Was there a dollar? It's the 3,000. It's like a rolling rate, and it's 3,000. And then first year is, it's a 5-year contract. The first year, is that? Right, 3120, then 3240, 3360, and 3480. So it kind of increases a little bit each year. But this will be a 5-year contract. There were some typos in this that Danny's notated to be corrected. And other than that, are there any questions about this contract?
Is there anybody else that can bid on it, or is this the only one?
This is the one, didn't you say this kind of got dropped on us? I talked to Danny about
This is
that.
a proprietary system.
Yeah, it's a proprietary
That the school
system,
does.
yeah,
Okay.
kind of got dropped on us.
I just
because
wanna make
we're in
sure
a-
we were
we're in a-
giving everybody the
Yeah, we're in a
opportunity.
county school,
Okay.
you know, it was, and so any other questions about that?
How will the next item we're going to discuss be affected with that at all? Anything, Danny?
Actually, Dustin told me they're kind of,
Yep, so what you're talking about now is a computer-based system that tells Dustin and Kyle, whoever logs in, exactly what's wrong with the unit. And they can go in there and change it and see what's wrong, and then they actually go to the unit. So like Dustin will tell you, we'll say, my office is cold. Well, it's blowing 70 degrees, and he can go there and change it. But yeah, it's hand in hand. The next contract is Comfort Systems, not
right, they're two
Concepts.
different
They're two
companies, but
companies.
they do
They're
work
all
well
related
together.
sister companies, but
Yes,
they're
yes.
two different entities. One's a computer-based, one's the actual.
The people that come out and
Mechanical,
actually
yeah.
do the
Okay.
mechanical part of it. So, yeah, we got two separate things that we have to talk about, so, I did ask, because you know I'm a big about shopping it around, so that was one of the things I asked. But it's kind of proprietary, it's kind of something that we have to stick with, because that was, yeah, we're kind of stuck with it more or less. But are there any other questions? Do you all want to put that on consent? Okay.
Consent? Yes.
Okay, thank you. The next one is, hang on a minute, let me flip over to that. I think my papers are out of order. Here it is, no, it's right here. Comfort Systems USA, they are the actual group that does the actual repairs. So what it is we're gonna be moving some offices around, for those of y'all that are not aware. Planning and zoning is gonna move up towards where Danny is gonna move into where Danny's office and Natalie's office is now. Planning and zoning has gotten to a place where they need to be open to the public, where they can come and get their permits and things like this. So we're gonna move those up to the front. And the upper hall that's out here is where we had been storing our records for the last few years. And we didn't spend the money to get those cooling units and heating units operational, because obviously nobody thought we'd be in this building this long. And so when they went in to check, I believe you said, Danny, that you found some mildew and mold on the documents and things like that. And when you had them come out and check, it's because there's no air circulation. There's like one room, I think, had some air
Yeah, the
circulation.
room with the records actually had a working unit, but it shares a common space with all the hallway, and that one unit could not condition that air enough, and they recommended getting units fixed. So I don't like spending money, but since I gotta spend the money, I might as well occupy it. So that's kind of what triggered this.
Right, so since we're gonna be having to, so they came out, they looked at all the units, there's a estimate in here for the repairs, which that estimate for those repairs is $22,376. That's to fix those units and one of the cooling towers. So that's a combined thing. They need a 20% contingency with that, because they actually haven't got these actually up and running. They've tried to run air through them and things. They could run into some issues. And so that's to get that running, and then Danny will move there, Natalie will move there, the other girls will move there. There'll be a lot of people moving there, and the records will be safe. And I just want to, while I'm, so I just want to know, is there any questions about that? And again, these two companies go hand in hand, and we've used other companies in the past, and local companies just aren't really probably the right way to go when you're talking about the type of system we have here. And so in the long run, while maybe this company is just a hair higher than maybe some of your mom and pop shops, they also have the experience, the knowledge, and the crew to get out here and take care of this correctly and in a timely manner. But are there any other questions?
How old are those units?
Dustin, do you know how old the units are?
2005.
How old is this building, probably?
The units were replaced in 2005. They have a 30-year
Okay.
life expectancy. I'm sorry, Dustin. Go ahead. Microphone. He doesn't ever get to talk, so I'll let him talk.
The units were, I believe the units were 2015. 2005, I'm sorry. He was saying it was 15 years expectancy on the units. That's kind of where the contingency's on the end of it, because some are in better shape than others. Any other questions?
How much more would it be to replace the units? A lot more?
It's about $10,000 per unit.
How many units?
We're fixing 9.
I like this price.
And that still may come. We still may have to replace. While we're on this, it's not on the agenda, but it's probably going to be next month, possibly. But tell them about the HRV, the air handler.
You would do that. They call them AON units, but basically it's a fresh air supply for when the school was here. On each individual hall, it's a big air conditioning unit, basically, that conditions fresh air for the building, allows a certain amount in, lets a certain amount out each day to turn the air over in a building when it used to be full of students and all the people here. We've had estimates when we first moved in, but they were costly repairs. But we're looking again to maybe get 2 of them going, maybe not all 4, to get the occupied areas back to what the building was originally.
Right, and you'll have that for us next month?
Yes, ma'am.
Right, thank you. Any other questions on these? Do you want to put it on consent? Okay.
Obviously, it's not budgeted though, correct? We didn't plan
Yeah,
this.
we have contingencies in facilities for site improvements, yes.
Okay, and that's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Melanie. And we'll move now to Economic Development Committee. Brandon Whitfield.
Thank you, Mayor. We have a few contracts. For 20, the event contracts. The first one is Modern Midway. They'll be coming, the same contract as last year. Everything's pretty much the same. They'll be coming May 11th through 14th, 2023. Any questions on that? Y'all good with consent? And then
Everybody
next
okay?
up,
Consent?
I mean, assuming that Robin's looked at them and they meet her, I'm okay with consent on all of them if she's looked at it and they're okay.
Yeah, let's do consent, with authority to sign after negotiation. Does that make sense?
sure.
Would you like me to repeat that? Listen, I'm not going to mess with him. He bears arms. So, no, what I was saying is to the extent there are any issues with these, if they're the same ones from last year, they're probably okay. I would like the ability to look at them. So maybe on the consent agenda for the authorization to sign the contracts once they've been approved. That way it's not going to be slowed down.
Okay.
Good deal. The next one is for the Swingin' Medallions coming to town again. Everybody's very excited about that. This is their performance agreement. As a lot as previously, a lot of these, they just worked off the years past. Any questions on this one? All right, want me to do the same consent?
Yes, please. Consent agenda for approval to execute once they've been negotiated.
Okay. And then the next one is for a new band, Fire Lake. They are a Bob Seger cover band. And so this is a new contract, but it's for, was it $3,000 for Fire Lake for a 2-hour set. So it's right in line with a lot of our other ones. Any questions on this one?
So this is a new contract, so Robin will have to make sure it's okay.
Yes.
We all good with consent after Robin looks at it?
Mm-hmm.
And then the last one is the pyrotechnic for the fireworks show. And it's the same price as last year. And any other questions, just let me know.
Are we planning on the week before July the 4th again?
I can have Christie come up after we, June 24th. And the medallions and Fire Lake, a lot of all that is covered by the money raised by Christie. So it's not coming out of that as sponsorship money, paying for a lot of the bands. Any questions about the pyrotechnic? Y'all okay with the consent once Robin looks it over? All right. And then Christie, can you please enlighten us when the Swingin' Medallions and Fire Lake are coming and anything else in the pipeline for this month?
Hello, everyone. Swingin' Medallions, we have them as far as the contract for June the 16th. And Fire Lake, the Bob Seger Tribute Band, is for in August. I am working with some other bands. I do not have a contract for them yet, so that's why I do not have them on the list. And of course, I want to get a contract before we actually announce that. But I do have a lot of things in the work. We're also trying to plan a movie night downtown and just a lot of things going on. So, but yeah, those are the contracts that we have. All of these are the same as we've done in the past, except Fire Lake. Of course, they're new. So.
Could you give us some hints on who you're looking to bring in? Just give me some, ideas.
Change of outfits many times.
Change of outfits many times. That's not a good clue.
You'll like him.
What would that be?
Movie night downtown, does that involve our movie?
No, sir.
we
Movie
just-
night is actually where
had
we
them
have like a
before.
movie screen on the town green and just play a movie ourselves. So, yeah. So,
All right, that's all I have, Mayor.
Very good. Thank you, Brandon.
No problem.
And we'll move to the city manager's report. Danny Roberts? Oh, that's a good one, Danny Roberts.
Kyle, I didn't want that on YouTube, that's why I didn't have my microphone on. The only thing I remind you is Linda Dodd just screamed at me if you heard her. Vice Mayor will be Thursday night, so we'll add that to the top of the agenda. Y'all make your nominations and call for that, so that's the only thing I have.
Okay, are we anticipating executive session tonight or Thursday night?
I believe we do the executive session tonight,
Okay?
in case there's a vote needed for Thursday night.
Okay, we need to go ahead and exit this meeting and open up another. Okay, can we have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Now, Keith, it is a requirement that you stay here till we get back.
He said he's leaving.
Does that mean you're not going to? I understand. Have a good night. Okay, it doesn't appear that we'll have very much community feedback tonight, does it? But with that said, can we have a motion to reopen it? Okay, we have a motion to go back to the regular session. Do we have a second? Okay, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, we're back in regular session. Robin, do you want to mention what we discussed?
Yes, so Mayor and council members of the audience, we did go into executive session to discuss a personnel matter. We discussed the details of the personnel matter. No action was taken in the meeting, and no action will be taken this evening.
Okay, thank you very much. We've got 4 more hours that we can take community feedback before we exceed the midnight hour. Is there anyone from the community that would like to, well, let's see, let's close this out first.
Hold on, I got a
Well,
quick question for y'all under my report. So Thursday, I may have a question before y'all. Relay for Life is looking for a place to come. The school is not letting them due to their new turf, I guess. So if I can get this on the agenda for maybe Thursday, the request would be to use the field out here and allow them to use the restrooms. Is that something y'all would entertain at all or not at all?
Pretty big operation.
It's a big operation, I think. Christie, the track would handle those people in the parking, you think?
Microphone.
And the reason I bring it up now, I'm sorry, is because it's, I believe, April.
It's April the 28th is the date they're looking at. And she had been communicating with me about this. I told her I didn't know if the field was available. She wasn't sure if it was an option, but since we have been here tonight, she has sent me a message and said, hey, the school is not going to work out. Can we use your track? So I went and talked to Danny while y'all were in executive session, and that is why he's trying to bring this up. She does need to get this confirmed so that, of course, they can start promoting it. So we did not want to wait until March.
Okay.
That's why he's bringing this up tonight. So basically, all we would do, provide the track for them, the restrooms, the power. It is a big operation. You know, a lot of people probably that's never been to Loganville may come here. She said they would be here from like 8 o'clock that morning until midnight. And of course, they would clean up after themselves and everything they needed to do.
Okay.
And I did send a message back to her requesting if she could come here Thursday night to answer your questions.
Okay, I have participated in Relay for Life because I'm a breast cancer survivor. And when they do the one in Gwinnett and when they've done the one at the school in Monroe, there's not just the people that participate as breast cancer survivors, but all of their family. And I mean, it is a big, there's, I don't know how many people there would be here, but there'd be a lot of people here. So, you know, I think it's a great program, and I don't have a problem with it, but people, y'all just need to know that if we decide to do this, it's a big to-do, and there they always had a lunchroom to feed people. Every survivor got a free meal. I don't know if she's talking about any of that.
I mean, we just basically talk, you know, very little details.
You know,
with
I'm
her.
just saying, there's a lot of things that go, not just the walking around the track. That's just the small part of it. So there's a lot of things that go on before, a lot of things go on after. So that's just something y'all need to think about if we decide to do this,
Well,
because it's.
With you
it's a
saying
lot.
that, Linda, do we know, will the movie people, because they take up the whole town when they're here, is that going to interfere with the movie people being here? If they're telling me there's going to be an onslaught of people, we may not have parking.
Well, the movie company has communicated with me, and of course, I'd reach out to them again, that, you know, they don't film on the weekends. This is April the 28th, which that is a Friday night, and I would, of course, communicate with them to make sure they're not here before we told her yes or no. So, as far as parking for the people, when we've had events here in the past, of course, we have the parking lot on this side of City Hall, the parking lot here. We can utilize the empty lot on Main Street, and of course, Old City Hall. So I think we can make it work if you.
Would you like for me to see if she can come and present it to you Thursday, and then maybe y'all could not have to vote on it, but maybe the week after next, you can say, yeah, we support this, or no, we don't?
Well, there's not a better cause around
No, there's not.
trying to defeat cancer.
Not being a,
Is there any,
no, I'm just,
is there any concern about what this may set a precedent for anything else?
Well, I mean, didn't Ray bring a certain organization to use our track?
I don't know if they paid or not, did they?
Are they renting it?
I mean, we haven't discussed renting, we just talked
That
about.
was
using-
done without my knowledge.
That's what I'm saying, but
Yeah,
though.
but that was, yeah, that's.
But I'm
that-
saying, you're talking about setting a precedent,
Yes.
but didn't we
Right.
have a,
But that's what we were discussing. It would have, if it would have to be a joint venture with the city to make it, like we did with, Battle of the Bands, that's a joint
Like
event.
co-sponsor.
That's why I was asking Robin, it needs to be a joint event with the cities. Keeps, some other club coming here and say, well, you did it for Relay for Life. That's why we make sure we stay consistent with if it's a joint event.
Yeah, but then you gotta do joint, how are you gonna decide which
Yeah.
one you should join with or not? I think, what's the policy about it?
Okay, we'll talk, but in the meantime, I'll see if she can come Thursday night. But sorry to hit you with that last minute.
Well, if we can make it happen, I think all of us would love to support that effort, if we can. Is that a fair statement? Okay. Anything else? Can we have a motion to dismiss?
So moved.
We have a second? We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Meeting adjourned.